Here, oh God, we're almost like right up on it. Here we are live at 10:51. I'm not waiting the 4 minutes, dude. It's just not gonna happen. But the problem is I don't have my list. Because
no internet.
No, I thought I did it yesterday, but maybe I didn't. It should have updated while we were at work. Because we have no interwebs. And since we have no interwebs at home, this thing does not connect.
I could
The
turn on
phone
my
connects.
hotspot and you could connect to it.
I could try. Do it. So here we are live in the Egypt man land.
Here. Okay.
I don't need proximity.
No, you need a code though.
No, not always. It all depends. Have I ever connected to it before?
I don't think so.
Karen's iPhone. No, I didn't. Because I've never connected to your phone before.
I am.
How do you know? Man, I could have been using your thing for Pornhub. What are you talking about? Like Aaron does.
Why wouldn't you use your own phone?
What does it matter?
If you were gonna do that, why wouldn't you use mommy's and not yours?
So I can find out what your mother is watching.
Not
Because
porn.
she's all about the porn.
That is not a true statement, folks.
All right, we're in. I did a list and I did update the list, but
Without the interwebs, it doesn't update.
no, it should have though. That's the thing.
Not if you didn't open it. Did you open your notes while on the Wi-Fi?
Well, I didn't even take out my iPad yesterday.
Well, then I wouldn't have done anything. It doesn't do it automatically.
It should. Oh, it should do it automatically. But
It does it automatically once you open the note.
maybe that is all I had. I got going to Cairo, house hunting, and a week before working in a new apartment. Maybe that's all I put. It did update. Wait, I did take out my iPad yesterday.
Yeah, because you had what's his butt. You were gonna ask him the code.
Well, there you go. Stop sharing. Sharing is caring. We'll just disconnect and move on. All right, so we're in the Egypt man land. We are, gosh, I think it hit me yesterday that we've been here for a week.
I know.
It feels like months.
Some of the students were like, "How long have you lived in Giza?" And I said, "What's today?" It was 7 days. We
Can I
arrived
remove
yesterday.
the sadness that is these
I was using that.
grapes?
I was eating them.
These grapes are sad. We need a better thing for our table. Not those grapes.
Is the twist tie better?
Is what?
The twist tie. What? Twist tie.
Oh,
Is
you
that
can't,
bad?
I don't think you can even see that twist tie.
Really?
Yeah. Our table has a serious gangsta lean.
But it's really strong.
If you can't tell.
Yeah, but
like,
it doesn't wobble or.
I mean, it's
It's not like it's broken.
Karen's arm is on the high side, and this over here is on the low side, so it's like it's got a serious gangsta lean going on.
You can see it. It definitely looks like the.
The camera's tilted.
Yeah. It looks like the table's coming at you.
For those on the Patreon, we did a walkthrough of the apartment, so if you want to see that, you have to go over to the Patreon and
For the behind the scenes.
I think behind the scenes are for the top 2 tiers. I believe that's what I did, or it's for the top tier.
I think it's
So-
top 2 or top 3.
Keep that in mind if you want that exclusive look at what we're doing, the BTS.
You want to get on the airplane?
You want some BTS? I've always loved behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, you do.
I've been like ever since VHS had some little video behind the scenes and all those things that would come on TV to tell you what happened
The
while they were
bloopers and
shooting,
stuff. I
and
like
then the
those.
bloopers. Yeah. I've been all over the BTS, so I've always. It doesn't even matter what kind of movie it is. I've always liked seeing that behind the scenes, like how do they get it done type thing. I've always liked that.
All right.
All right, I have to do a wellness check. before we continue, just to make sure. Just to make sure. Okay. Wellness check is done. All right. So, last time we talked to the people, you. The last time where were we?
I don't remember.
London.
We were in London in a very, 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 very small room. It almost seems like a dream. We were there for almost 2 weeks though.
We were there for 12 days.
No, in that room.
We were in that room for 12 days.
But before that, we were in a different room.
Yeah, for 3 days.
2 different rooms.
Two Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We checked out Monday, so 3 days.
I don't remember what that place looked like.
The 2 rooms?
Oh, it was the Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah.
All right.
And we had the conjoined rooms.
Right. So we had a little bit more
Not
space.
conjoined. Adjoined.
Adjoined. Yeah, you can look it up.
Really, can I?
Yeah, you can. You don't have a dictionary on your phone?
The dictionary needs the internet.
Not necessarily. It all depends on your dictionary.
I have dictionary.com's app.
Well, that's your problem. You got to have a regular dictionary that everything lives on your phone.
But with the dictionary.com app, I get the synonyms and rhymes and stuff.
I get that
for my writing.
But my point is, if you need a dictionary offline, you got to get a different dictionary so that everything is down with you. So we were at the Holiday Inn Express. Then we went over to, I'm not going to recap our entire trip. I sort of did that yesterday in one of my classes, and they were just looking at me like, what the hell? One of the girls asked me, are you rich? And I was like, I wish, but no.
If we were rich, we would be in Poland, right?
Well, if we were, no, we wouldn't. We still wouldn't be able to get there.
No, and they...
Money wasn't our problem to get to Poland. It was Poland was our problem getting to Poland.
Poland is now closing down even further.
We could have left earlier.
No.
If we were rich.
We made a choice to go to Miami and stay for a couple days.
I know, but we could have done that earlier. Because when Mommy was looking at the tickets, there were earlier flights that were way more expensive. So we could have gone earlier, gone to Miami, and then been in Poland.
Oh, maybe. All right, so in the small room with the big giant painting mural thing on the wall for Comfotel.
Purple.
That purpleness. You know they have different colors in the city? There's
They
like
do.
purple and
green and blue and orange.
Yeah, they're different ones based on the color.
And they're throughout like different locations.
Now, if we were in that place and it was only 2 people in a room, that wouldn't have been a bad room.
No.
Now, there was no real
seating
like at a desk or
There was only
anything, but
2 beds, like the other room around the corner from us. That one only had 2 beds and a little more space.
right, if it had 2 beds and just 2 people, bathroom was a good size. It was fine for a tourist to go into that place. It was not good for 4 people, but it was fine for 2.
20 pieces of luggage.
Right. So imagine, I mean, maybe we should go back to London and go to a Comfotel.
I mean, we'll have to
It was
go
cheap.
back because...
Wait, where's the have to?
Well, because this trip didn't really count. We didn't get to see anything.
Oh, you're talking about touristy things. I'm talking. You made it seem like there was a must.
There
We
is
have-
a must.
Nah, we want
I
to.
thought you were about to say some
Some
passport
visa thing, or
visa
right?
thing.
It's like we have to. It's like, oh fuck that. No, we don't.
Yeah.
Now we do have to get their passports.
We do. And we're going to end up having to get new passports while we're
Yeah,
here,
we're
too.
gonna have to do both or all of our passports.
Well, theirs are already paid for because we paid for them in London. If you take the emergency passport into the passport office in whatever country you're in, within 1 year's time, they just exchange it for free.
They
for a regular.
exchange it.
They give you a regular one for free.
Oh,
So
so
you
we
pay.
can do it. We can do it. We don't have to really
They have.
pay for it again.
No, we don't have to pay for theirs again. We'll have to pay the $300 for ours.
Right. Yeah. So there's that. But anyway, back to the trip. So we're in the Comfotel. I keep going back to the Comfotel because, wow. And we were under quarantine, and then we did the passport thing for the kids so that they could come here. Got that done. Then we got our tests done, and we had about 3 days left, 3 or 4 days after the test, and we were, of course, negative. And we still didn't see anything. We kind of walked around the area we were in, which was a nice area. If you've been following the Instagrams, you've seen the area.
It was a really nice area. I would live in that area.
And then we packed up and left there to come to the Egypt man land last Saturday. This is Sunday. And went to Heathrow. You guys got any thoughts about Heathrow?
It was really easy.
Yeah.
It was like rest of the world, take note. It was really easy. We went up, we showed our COVID tests, we gave our passports, we gave our luggage, and I don't know if this is a Air Canada thing or what it is, but when we checked into Air Canada, they took all of our luggage except for our backpacks. They took everything. They didn't charge for the carry-ons, they just took it all. When we checked into Egypt Air, the same thing happened. They charged us for one bag over, and then took all of our carry-on. Which
That's what they did in Chicago.
That's what they did in Chicago with Air Canada. It was the easiest going through security. Now security was a little bit different. They're all different. But it was the easiest going through security with just your backpack and the little bit of other stuff that you have with you.
I like their little automated system to give you trays.
Yeah.
You just stand in one spot and the trays go under the conveyor belt and they just pop out right there and you just pick it up, put it on, put your things in, slide it down, and then another tray comes down. Oh, that was awesome.
It was super easy. And then they had stations where you could then repack your things should you need to put things back, like put your belt back on and you know, situate your child. They had little stations where you
like
could
little,
do that.
Little cubicle almost.
Yeah, like standing cubicle things.
Yep.
It was just super smooth. And then at the gate, there was plenty of seating at the gate. There was food at the gate, like within what?
Oh, it was wide open.
It was just, it was so.
There's a
Now,
bar.
I
I just sat next to a bar.
I saw people that were commenting that they really don't like Heathrow. Like but I think the reason why our experience was what it was because the number of travelers was so low. So we didn't run into lines. We didn't have a crowd. I mean, when we walked up, I mean, we stood in line for just a couple minutes and there was like nobody really there in line.
There were like 5.
And one group was
a group of 10.
But they were one group, so they were all going to one person. It was super simple, and we were able to just get on the plane all until we got to Cairo.
Well, and we also had the experience when we got off the plane at Heathrow from Toronto that our accommodations had canceled prior to us even getting our luggage. And in Heathrow, there is a place where you can book.
WeKnowLondon.
You can book a hotel, you can book a car, you can book tours, you can get a SIM card, you can do all of the things
That you need.
just past the baggage carousels.
Yeah. All the things you need as a tourist.
As across from WeKnowLondon is the name of the place.
WeKnowLondon.
There is a money exchange, which made it super easy, and I don't know why people don't like Heathrow because we had a good experience both times we were in the
But like I
airport.
said, I think it was probably because we were traveling at a time when the number of people traveling in the world was lower. Heathrow is supposed to be super busy. It's one of the busiest airports in the world.
Yeah.
And we didn't find any real, I mean, people were there,
Yeah.
but it wasn't super busy. So we got to get in and get out with no real problem. I mean, even with all the social distancing, even those seats weren't full.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that you took away half the seats and then the remaining seats weren't full.
Yep.
that tells you how many people are actually traveling. There's just not that many. But then we got to Egypt. The flight was
Packed.
The flight was way, like, I think every seat was full.
There was not one empty seat in the entire plane.
They were struggling to try to find places for luggage and carry-ons and stuff. Even taking all of the stuff at the beginning, they still were struggling because we boarded an hour before the flight left Heathrow, and we sat there and left right on time. It took over an hour to get everybody on and to situate all the luggage. It took a while.
Yeah, it did.
Just sitting there, and then the flight itself, I guess, was okay.
The flight was fine.
I didn't have any issues with the flight, but then when we landed, that's when the reality hit. You're in a different country.
Well, the only thing about the flight that I have to complain about is the fact that we are crammed in there like sardines. I mean, you're touching every person. There's no way to get around it. You're so close. But then the people kept taking their masks off, and not just to drink or eat, but just take them off and have them off and talk and whatever. And the airline attendant would come by and tell them to put the thing back on, and then they'd kind of half-ass do it, but as soon as they walked away, they'd take it off again. And they didn't do anything. Like
What is there to be done though? You're in the air.
Well, I just read a story this morning where a couple was trying to soothe their screaming toddler, which of course toddlers scream on the plane. That's what they do. But the airline attendant got so pissy with the guy because he kept taking his mask down to talk to the baby. They call him the baby, and they ended up canceling their connecting tickets and didn't bother telling them. So they waited the 3-hour layover, went to go check in for the next flight, and their tickets had been canceled. And this was American Airlines, and this is something that's been happening on American Airlines in the last few months repeatedly to families.
Yeah, well, guess what? Once the word goes out that American Airlines is not friendly to families, they will feel the pinch. Because, I mean, in all the businesses that rely on good customer service to keep people coming in and using their service, during COVID, you really want to be turning people away? Because, I'm sorry, that this seems like the wrong time, because you're going to need that money. You're not going to get the giant, the business traveler. They're not traveling like they were before.
No.
So maybe you should be nice to the people that are choosing to fly with you, because if they have a good experience, at least they can go back and tell people, when we flew, we had a good experience. My child was wilding out, but they helped us and handled it professionally. And so at least the people that are going to make the choice to fly choose you, because at this point, very few people need to fly.
Right.
Especially with everything going on with COVID, and which I'm not sure if things are going on here with COVID, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
All right, so we get to Cairo, and
Took like it took like an hour and a half to get off the plane.
Was it an hour and a half?
It took over an hour.
So,
it was probably close to an hour and a half to get
off.
off.
It was a 4-hour flight, and then it took us 4 hours to get from the plane to the hotel.
Oh,
Yes, it did.
That had to do with luggage and all the other stuff.
But it did take over an hour to get off the plane.
They were checking our COVID test. They were taking our temperature, but they were doing it in a way that made little sense. Because basically, if someone had a high temperature and the plane was packed, what were you going to do?
Right, they should have taken it before we got on the plane.
No. They had to do it in the country, because before they got on the plane, we weren't in the country. But the idea is what were they going to do if someone was absolutely sick, right? Or I don't know, symptomatic. You remember, everybody had to have a negative COVID test to get on the plane.
Yeah, we
That's
had to
important
show it
to
at
understand.
the check-in.
So once we got here, and they take your temperature and they take your paper, what were they going to do? They had to get the person off. Well, no, they did it, and they were in the front and the back at the same time, and they were trying to, I guess, converge in the middle. But the person in the front never moved, and the guy in the back came up to the middle. I don't know how that made any sense because nobody moved. Everybody was stuck where they were. No air conditioning on in the plane.
Right,
So
they
we
turned everything off.
We
There
were
was
just
no
sitting
flow.
there essentially stewing. So if someone was sick, with all the bodies and people right there, it's like they should have had a way. Because what were you going to do? Quarantine the plane like it was a yacht? Like people were going to stay on the plane? No, of course not. So they had to get off the plane, sick or well.
Yeah.
So why didn't you have people coming off the plane, handing the paperwork, taking the temperature, and then just let them keep going? If there was someone who had a temperature, you just took them this direction.
Right.
But they had to get off the plane. It's like, why did you leave everybody on the plane?
Yeah.
And then
And if you weren't hot before, you were by the time you got off the plane.
the people started flooding. At one point, they started flooding forward, but there were a bunch of us still trapped in our seats, and they couldn't get out for, I don't know what was going on ahead of them, but they couldn't get out. And so now it's super hot in there. There's no airflow. There's just all these people crammed into one tiny little space when they could have kept their asses in their seats.
Yeah,
like
but
they told
even
them to
then,
do.
but we would have had the same problem. We would have all been breathing this non-recirculated air, non-cooled air, and we would have all been heating up slowly, sitting in our seats. It wouldn't have changed what was happening with the temperature and the conditions. They needed to just take the first row, have them stand up, and walk off.
Right.
And then just keep doing that
Yeah.
and marching, because there would have been fewer people on the plane to generate heat on the plane.
Yeah.
If they had just taken them off, done the thing, they could have two people standing there, so one person, they can go one or the other, and just let them keep filing off.
Right.
Get off the plane. If they would have done that, we would have, in the time it took us to sit there and wait, everybody would have been off the plane.
Yeah.
That's when people started complaining. They were like, if I was doing this myself, I'd have everybody off the plane in a half an hour. It's like,
Absolutely.
yeah, you
Yeah.
would have, because you would have gotten them off the plane, because you're looking for the needle in the haystack. Almost everybody there was not symptomatic and they had a negative test prior to boarding.
Because you could not, it didn't matter if you were a citizen of Egypt or not, you could not get on a plane in Heathrow without a
that
negative
thing.
test.
Right. So it was kind of weird. So we get off the plane, then we get down to baggage finally. We had to do a weird thing with before baggage, visas and
That was the oddest visa experience.
so we had to get the tourist visa, kind of like what we had to do in Thailand. I think we had to get tourist
Yes,
visas first.
yes, the minute you get off the
So
plane.
you get in, and it was weird because you go to a bank, you pay for your visa, which okay, fine, pay for the visa, and then they give you a sticker. They give you a sticker
that you put in your passport.
that you find a page and put it in your passport, and then you go around to immigration, and then they ask why you're here.
They didn't ask me why I was here.
It was like
Didn't ask me why I was here. He just said
the
it's
thing
just,
says
emergency passport.
well, they knew we were all together, but the thing said tourist. Like that's the thing I just paid for with the guy over there. It's like okay, so I'm a tourist. You see the visa, you know I paid for it. What other question do you have then?
Americans, should you come to Egypt as a tourist, please be sure to have $25 US per person in cash.
In U.S. currency.
In US
That's what you're
currency.
trying to say.
$25 US in cash
For each
for
person.
each person. So if you have 4 people like we do, $100 bill is fine.
Are you doing the math?
$100 bill is fine, but you must have US currency. Otherwise, you're going to be sent to a different place. Bless you. It was really interesting that more than one time since we arrived, we've been asked for US dollars.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure why, considering if I wanted to go to the supermarket, I can't pay in US dollars. It used to be Egyptian pounds. And they pay to do the exchange rate, so I'm not sure why they asked for dollars.
I have no idea.
Because when I booked the hotel, I always prepay the hotel. Makes life so much easier when you get there late at night. But I paid for the hotel, and then I had to book separately through the hotel transportation from the airport to the hotel. And that was $35 US, and he wanted me to pay $35 US in American cash when I booked in, and I said, how much is that in Egyptian pounds? And he told me, and I just paid it in pounds. So that was one of the situations where I could pay in local currency, but at the bank they did not want anything but US. And at that particular bank.
If you had to use a credit card or something, then you had to go to a special bank that allowed you to use credit card.
The bank
the first one didn't want to let.
The second one wouldn't take card either. We had to do cash.
But we were able to use
the British pound.
Right, we were able to use cash from another country.
Right, but they exchanged the British pounds, but they wouldn't exchange the Mexican pesos.
Why are they hating on the peso, man?
I don't know.
They shouldn't be hating on the peso.
So if you're gonna,
the peso's worth more.
If you plan to come to,
I don't think they did pesos in Heathrow, did they?
Yes.
They did?
Yes.
Oh yeah, because you took the money that was from my passport keeper.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you plan to come to Egypt, make sure you have some U.S. cash on you. Some. Enough to pay for your visas.
Are you sure? If you want to find the Traveling Farrs, you can find us on the YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever the awesome podcasts are sold for free at the Traveling Farrs. If you like the Instagram or the Twitters, Traveling Farrs. If you want to send Karen an email at travelingfars@gmail.com. And the blog space, where you can find all the past episodes, all the good stuff that we've ever done, at thetravelingfars.blueberry.net. No E's in the blueberry.
And go to the Patreon. Patreon.com/thetravelingfars.
BTS.
We've got things for you.
BTS.
We've got nice little goodies.
So sign up down there for the Patreon.
Many different plans for you to choose from.
And if you want to keep the podcast going, which we need to keep the podcast going, if you want to help with that, where can they go?
GoFundMe, the Traveling Farrs.
Or
Cash App.
You have to give me the Cash App stuff so I can put it out there so that they can see it.
$, the Traveling Farrs.
That's it? That's all they need?
That's all they need.
Oh, well, shit. That was easy. Now you got it. Now you know.
I learned something this
No
week
one's half the battle.
You can send money through Cash App and not get taxed on it.
The whole okay. So Patreon is for keeping the podcast and giving you some extra content and all that good stuff. The GoFundMe, they take a cut.
They do.
Some people don't like the idea that they take a cut.
And so does PayPal.
But the Cash App,
it's literally just boom boom.
Cash.
You
so
get it in 30 seconds.
Use whatever you want to use. Use whatever it is so we can keep the podcast going and keep bringing you content from here. We keep taking photos every day of things that we're seeing and posting them to the Instagrams and the Twitters. I'm putting them on, the Twitter is going straight to my account. Are you sharing? Because sharing is caring. Are you sharing on the Traveling Farrs the things that I post to the Instagram or to the Twitter? That would be a no.
On the Twitter?
Yeah, on the Twitters.
I try to.
Try to. with the Instagram, I'm definitely doing that every day, so you guys can see what we're seeing. You can see the dustiness. I don't know what's gonna happen the first. I was thinking about this the other day. The first like
Rain?
no sandstorm.
Oh.
Rain.
Talking about rain.
No, the first sandstorm that comes through and we have to close everything up. And the heat, oh boy.
Turn on the air conditioners.
I thought it was very interesting last night when we were walking back, our first night walking back, how bright it actually was.
Yeah, it's
And
really
how
bright.
many people are actually out at
10 something
10,
at night.
11 o'clock at night, and how many shops are still like just full blown, just going, which was quite interesting.
And it's really cool.
And it's super cool on the street.
Yeah, like the metal on the windows was actually cold to the touch.
Yeah, it gets down into like the 70s at night right now.
Yeah.
So it's getting cool, very cool. It's in the 90s to 100s in the daytime, somewhere around there. And this is the cool time of year. This is what they want to call winter. Even though the subtropics really don't have winter, but you know, trying to explain that to people that have been saying winter their whole life.
I had to explain
You
that.
just let
yesterday.
them go with it because they don't really, they're gonna argue with you no matter what, and it's like, but they don't have winter in Miami, but they're in the subtropics too, but you have winter, and you're in the subtropics, like sorry, you don't have winter.
And also, you're in a desert. You don't have winter.
So anyway, that's it.
Winter involves snow and ice.
Well, no, winter might not involve snow and ice, but
Isn't that the
I don't know,
defining characteristic of winter?
it is for us. I don't think that's a defining characteristic for everybody in the world. All right. What is winter? Look that up. You guys done?
Yes.
You guys done? Say goodbye to the people.
Bye, people.
Peace!